How you sabotage your own self might also be the way that you sabotage a relationship, a romantic relationship, or a relationship with friends or coworkers. We're going to dive into what this might look like in today's episode of Expedition to Soul. We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. I'm Sara, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and today we're talking a little bit about the expansion archetypes and what your expansion archetype might mean for how you sabotage yourself in relationships. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean romantic relationships, though it could mean that, but it can also be your friendships, your business relationships, your coworkers. We're going to talk about it all right now because it's not different. Relationships fundamentally are the same. Like they all have the same elements. It's you, it's another person. It's just the level of commitment, the level of relationship, the longevity, how vulnerable you are, how much you share. That might change depending on the relationship. But even within them, I mean, if you are a married person and then you also have like a business partner or you run a whole team of people, I mean, you are still as committed to these other relationships as you would be to your marriage. So it is not necessarily different, right? Let's get right into this here. What are the expansion archetypes? The expansion archetypes, there are 5 different expansion archetypes. I sort of had I don't know if we want to call it a divine download or like I don't know, existential moment of brilliance, wherein these archetypes stepped into my mind, fully formed, fully present. And the expansion archetypes are how you both expand and contract, how you manifest and how you sabotage. It is one and the same, this part of you. Now, here's the thing about the expansion archetypes. There's 5 of them. You have each and every one of them within you right now. But in different times of your life, depending where you are right now, you might lean into one more than the other. Now, you can learn about your expansion archetype if you register for our Magic Week program. You have to register for the program because once you learn your archetype, there's a series of videos. There's 4 videos that release to tell you more about your archetype, and we support you with live videos, live Q&A, all happening beginning the week of March 13th. So you want to register for that for sure. Now, let's go through the different archetypes and how they might sabotage a relationship based on the archetype. So here we have Mapper to begin with. We start with Mapper for no particular reason other than it aligns with intention in our 5I framework. And this 5I framework is simply, it's so simple and so powerful. But the framework starts with intention, and Mapper aligns with intention. Now, the thing about a Mapper is that a Mapper struggles to see the end of a project or struggles to sort of see like trust in the process when they don't know every single step along the way, but might help others really support them in doing this for themselves. So a mapper might sabotage in a relationship by really relying on another person to make decisions, to lay out the plan, to handle the finances, or, just like be the one in charge. Not always, but that might be the case, but then be unhappy with the results. Now, if you are a person who already knows your archetype and you're a mapper and you're like, that doesn't sound like me, I would also consider how maybe you've started just not letting people make plans because you weren't happy with the results and how you kind of just like, took over rather than getting comfortable with not knowing what would be and not having control over it. So a mapper might sabotage relationships by being the one who like relies, but then gets upset at what happened and then carries the burden of the emotional fallout from that. Now, a wanderer is aligned with the energy of air and with integrate in our 5I framework. And a wanderer will sabotage relationships by overdoing. So a wanderer is always going to like, spin all the plates and manage everything and just say, no, I got it. I got it. I got it. But eventually that wanderer will break, will be displeased, right? and will then have not only sabotage the relationship wherein there's now an argument, there's resentment, but will also sabotage themselves and their own peace and taking care of themselves, their self-care. I know this to be true because I am a wanderer and I have been there. So that's our wanderer. Our mappers, they'll rely and then get upset at the result and be like, you should have known different. The wanderers will just handle, they'll just overdo, they'll overcompensate, take care of everything. And both cases, this leads to resentment in both cases. Our adventurers, they are aligned with insight in our 5i framework, and this is the energy of shadow work, and it's also the energy of fire. Now, an adventurer in a relationship may sabotage by fully losing themselves in that relationship. Like they become that person. They become so and so's coworker, so and so's partner, so and so's mother, right? Like they become their identity is of that thing and they lose themselves. Now, how does this sabotage a relationship? Well, also will breed resentment because one day that adventurer will wake up and say, "Who am I?" Which some of you might be relating to. And remember, even if it's not your archetype, you do have all of these within you to some extent. So that adventurer may wake up and just say, "Oh my goodness, I've been this thing for so long. I don't even know who I am anymore." And then may revert to some of these other cases like of the mapper and being frustrated with the person, but really it's the adventurer sabotaging by just fully wearing the hat of that way of being in their life and losing themselves. Now, a dreamer might fixate on how things should have been or could have been, which can be similar to a mapper in that way. And actually, the mapper and dreamer energies are opposite energies. So they're like repellent energies, which is interesting that they have this similar quality about them. Think about this idea of holding the mirror up to the things you don't like in somebody else, but it's a reflection of what you don't like in yourself. Well, we see that here with the dreamer and the mapper for sure. But the dreamer, where the mapper will maybe think of how they wanted it to be, but they were really relying on somebody else to make the choice. The dreamer likely won't have a picture about what's possible for it to come. They'll really be lost in the like, oh, it could be like this dream thing I have in my head, or it should have been like this if only this person had. And they might not vocalize it. It might just really live in their energy, in their mind, their imagination, like their ideal way of things shaping up. Now, of course, this is going to sabotage a relationship because you're not going to get anywhere. Just thinking about what could have been, should have been, and like living in that isn't going to get anybody anywhere quick. And that's how a dreamer might sabotage a relationship. And then a seer, this is our fifth archetype. The seer might sabotage simply by not being present, like at all. Like they might be really present, like fully on board and like there for everything. And then the next day they don't answer their phone. They're just like not available. They're not helpful. Like they're just or not part of the experience of the relationship, right? So one minute they're full on and the next they're like totally cold. And that's not great for relationships because it doesn't breed trust. It doesn't breed a sense of like 50-50 partnership. So a seer might sabotage a relationship in that way. Now, that was a real quick jaunt through how the different expansion archetypes might sabotage relationships. If you want to know your expansion archetype, because you're going to learn more about the elements, you're going to learn about the tarot associations, you're going to learn about energetic associations, all the things, how you manifest and how you sabotage. Join us for Magic Week. It starts March 13th, and you can register at signup.thesistersenchanted.com/Magic Week. We'll have the link in all the places. You want to get in on this. It's good stuff. You don't want to miss out. All right. So, which one do you think you are, though? That's always a fun exercise to do. Which expansion archetype do you think that you are? I shared I'm a wanderer. You can also try to guess, like, who do you think these people might be on team TSE? What do you think we might be? Which one do you think you might be? But remember, you do have all of them within you. So think on this. Lessons to be learned from all the archetypes here. And I hope to see you in Magic Week. Until next time, I hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead. If you liked this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, It will really help us spread everyday magic, intention, and intuition to the masses and helps us so much as a small business. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If there's any topics you'd want to hear, anything you want us to dive deeper into, shoot us an email at magic@thesistersenchanted.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening and being part of the community here at the Sisters Enchanted. And we'll see you in the next episode.